On your mark.
Hey everyone, happy Easter and welcome to another episode of Buds and Blue Jays. I'm your host, Jesse Burrell, and I am joined by my co-host, Riley McConnell. And Riley, the Jays picked up a series win against your Oakland A's. They won 2 out of 3 games against a team on paper they really should have taken advantage of, so it was good to see that there. Game 1, Jays won 4-1. Ross Stripling got the spot start there. He pitched 4 solid innings. We had a home run from Vladdy, and the bullpen did its job with 5 innings, 4 hits, 8 Ks, and a save for Romano. Game 2 went Oakland's way. It was 7-5 after Hanjin Ryu kind of couldn't only pitch 4 innings, gave up a lot of hard contact there. They got a 2-run home run in the 9th off Christian Pache, off Julian Merriweather. They had a good rally from Matt Chapman, Lourdes Gurriel, and Zach Collins all putting stuff together. And umpiring was quite bad. Montoyo got ejected. We'll talk about that game here. And in the rubber match, Jays pulled out a 4-3 victory. Alec Manoa was taking care of business. We got some good clutch hits from Espinal, from Bo, from Lourdes Gurriel. So Jays win the series 2-1.
The scores sound a bit more baseball like. We were playing football games there for a couple games, giving up high runs like that. But when you're giving up, under 5 runs in 2 of the games, I think that's pretty good for early in the year. The 7 runs a little bit concerning. That was one guy in the bullpen. Again, something we could address as well. Altogether, though, 2 quality starts out of 2 pitchers, 1 kind of rocky start. And other than that, hitting well. And we got it from guys that, as we'll talk about, you don't expect a guy in that Reese McGuire trade, Zach Collins. It was a good series. We definitely could have swept it. The umpiring was poor, but let's not blame it on the umpires because we did lose by 2 runs. Yes, the call was made with the bases loaded. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It was a terrible call. And then the next one, and that was on Lourdes on an outside pitch. Matt Chapman took one the next batter after Montoyo gets injured and is rung up on an inside pitch. It was just a bad game to be an umpire, I guess. I don't know if he wasn't seeing the plate exactly how 40,000 others were, but that's baseball.
Yeah, we'll expand on the umpires a little bit as we go, but let's get right into our segment here. We're going to go 3 up, 3 down. And Riley, who impressed you the most during this Oakland series?
So I'm gonna reel it back in with the same guy I gave a plus thumbs to in another video we did. That's Alec Manoa.
Yeah.
The guy is 2 starts, and I thought he could have got longer. He only pitched 6 innings, but let's ease him in a little bit. He got 6 strikeouts, walked 2 batters, gave up 4 hits, and 2 of them were his earned runs. Like, again, the walks concerned me a little bit. Still striking out guys. 1 per inning kind of thing, keeping that number pretty average for him, I would say. If there's a situation where he could go 7 or 8 in the future, I would love to see it because his stuff has looked really good. He's really got his secondary pitches down. I mean, his fastballs look great. He's got amazing control for a kid with his experience, and I've really just been loved watching this guy. He's exciting. I mean, he's a big-bodied pitcher. He reminds me of like a Kurt Schilling or someone of that big-body nature who throws hard. It's nice, man. Jays haven't had a steady ace in a long time. We didn't even call Manoa our ace, but like we said in earlier videos, there's a chance that, he's our ace by the end of the year. He's sure as hell pitching like it.
Yeah, the Jays really needed a strong start from Alec Manoa after, like I said, Stripling only went 4 after Hanjin Ryu had his struggle. So it was very nice to see a guy go in, lock down, and you feel that stability almost that Alec Manoa has provided you. And you talked about how good his fastball was. In his 2 starts now, he has only allowed 1 barrel on either of his top 2 pitches. His fastball, no one's hit a ball 98 miles per hour fastball. On a slider, it's only happened once. So Alec Manoa has the 2 filthy pitches, and we've seen improvement with his changeup that he carried over from his first start into this start, getting a whopping 15 swinging strikes in his 6 innings of work. So Alec Manoa looks to be the real deal, and I know it's only 2 starts and the season's still in the very beginning, but it looks like Alec Manoa could be a stud for this team all year, which is exactly what this team needs.
That's what I am anticipating, man. He had a later start for us last year, but he only got banged up a couple times last year and he is just a guy who I can count on 6 innings all the time pretty well. Like he's great. He's young, and the sky's the ceiling for them. I don't know how much better this kid's actually going to get. I don't think we've seen the best of his game yet. He's only going to get better with every inning he pitches.
It'll be fun to follow throughout the course of the season here. I want to give a thumbs up to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. We talked coming into the series that with the Teoscar Hernandez injuries and with the Danny Jansen injury that this lineup is starting to look like it's thinning out a little bit. So we really needed guys like Chapman, like Kirk, like Lourdes Gurriel to step it forward. And boy, did he. He came into the series hitting under 200 with an OBP of 250, but he picked up 6 hits and he walked 7 times. So he's now hitting 273 with a 333 on base. So respectable numbers there. And he was driving the ball too. Even he had some sacrifice flies that he drove to the right center field gap, and then he pulled a double down the line. So we've talked about Lourdes Gurriel in the past, and when he is hot, he can individually carry a team to a handful of wins. And with the depth that this lineup is featuring, Lourdes Gurriel going on his hot tear is only going to help this team stay afloat until these guys get healthy.
I absolutely love Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He is he's such a showman, and it's not even in the flashy way. And when you talk about guys that are hot, guys that are cold, I hope he rides this for the next couple weeks. Obviously, it won't be 162 games of this, but you can expect or hope to expect a lot more good plate appearances out of him, and maybe we see him have a couple of consecutive games with home runs. That also wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, he seems to be pulling the ball down the line, things like that, just hitting the ball deep. But I'm sure he'll get a hold of a couple and put him in the seats here in the future. I would say probably against the Red Sox in the next series. You can expect Lourdes to put one out.
I mean, if he just keeps hitting like he just did in that Oakland series, it's gonna be great. Riley, who else gives your thumbs up as we get through that Oakland series there?
I would love to give it to one of our what we call platoon guys there. Coming up, obviously because of the injured Danny Jansen, and that's Zach Collins.
Yep.
I think he DH'd one game, caught 2. He got 7 hits. I don't care if you're a catcher or a first baseman, it doesn't matter. 3-game series when you walk out with 7 hits, that's a successful series. You're talking about the boots to fill. We talk about how good Danny Jansen was to start the year. I mean, those are big boots to fill there. Kirk had a couple off days, and he was in the lineup for one, but so was Collins. He really impressed me, man, and he's the lefty bat we needed. I don't know how you divvy it up because I don't want to take him out of the lineup. He's still got lots of time to play with this injury to Danny Jansen. And I just hope he keeps up, being in the middle of that, maybe to the lower 6-7 spot in the lineup, and still hitting the ball hard, man, and putting them out.
As long as he keeps hitting, he's going to be in this lineup. And isn't it kind of funny that last episode before this Oakland series start, we kind of bashed Zach Collins. We're like, yeah, this isn't good enough. The Jays should explore other catching options. I feel like Zach Collins just listened to us and took it personally. And he's saying, fuck you, Riley and Jesse, every time he swings and he hits those balls there. I love his bat speed too. Like, it seems kind of quick and compact, but when he can put barrel on ball and his eye is there, that ball can go. Like that home run he hit in game 2 of this series here was a thing of beauty. And he's pulling doubles down the lines too. Like, thumbs up to me for Zach Collins, man. We needed kind of an unexpected story like this in order to make this lineup go even deeper. Well, Vlad doesn't have his best series. Well, Bo doesn't have his best series. So if Zach Collins can keep it up, this is going to keep this team afloat to give us a chance to meet our ceiling.
Let's just remember he is our what we'll call third string catcher too at this point. We're in the modern baseball era. Obviously, Kirk has been DHing, but with the injury to Jansen, he's going to get a lot more time, and it's a good start to what could be a very important stretch of games early on in the year. I love to win early on. And it's a good time to boost your stats. So Zach Collins, if you are listening to us, we're sorry, but you did a hell of a job against the Oakland A's, man. And you know what? They might have been an easier team, man, but confidence is everything. Keep driving the ball hard. And as far as your defense go, you know what? I feel like we're going to win a lot more games 7-5 than lose a lot more games 7-5.
In true Blue Jays fashion, right?
In true Blue Jays fashion.
Yeah. That'll bring us to our thumbs down moment here. We do got to talk about Hanjin Ryu. Like, what is going on with this guy, man? He struggled again. He only went 4 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 5 earned runs. He only got 1 strikeout too. And Hanjin Ryu wasn't even a hard thrower to begin with, but his velocity was down an additional 1.5 miles per hour. So for a guy who's a soft tosser who isn't commanding the ball exactly where it needs to go, he's getting crushed right now. It was reported after the game that he had forearm tightness, so maybe that does explain the velocity dip. And the Blue Jays did put him on the 10-day IL. So I don't know if this was a case where like he's just on the IL with shittiness, because you've seen the Blue Jays do that sometimes, get a phantom injury. But if the miles per hour are down, maybe this is something real for Hanjin Ryu. And I don't know. I don't know what you do with him after he comes back, because the way he's looked towards the end of last season and the way he's looked so far this season, the guy is almost unplayable. But you go back to what he did in 2020 and what he did in the last few years with the Dodgers, when he's on, he can be really good. So Riley, when his time on the injured list is up, what are you doing with Hanjin Ryu?
Well, I'm not a father time based guy. That's the old mentality. To retire a guy is, he's 37 and he had 2 bad starts. Like, yeah, I say, give him 3. If he does what he does 3 more times consecutively, then kind of there's the door thing. But I don't think that's going to happen. Sadly, from what I've seen, the velocity going down in the control aspect, which is his primary function as a pitcher, is an extreme ground ball pitcher with a great control arm. He's really not, he's not even in the percentile of being that type of pitcher. He's just he's looked like a AA reliever out there. He's got hit around. What I think is going to happen with him is if you have to move him to the long part of your bullpen, sure. But I still think you give him almost a 3-strike thing. Let him start his next 2 starts as usual and just keep a short leash on him.
If he is really injured, maybe this gives him time to heal and maybe he can figure this out and he can go. But I don't think you put Hanjin Ryu in the bullpen either, because he's not like the type of guy who's going to start throwing 3 miles per hour as soon as you put him in the bullpen, right? Like Hanjin Ryu isn't that person. So I think the Blue Jays, honestly, if he comes back after these 10 days, are just going to ride with Hanjin Ryu, and we're going to bite the bullet, and we're just going to hope that the offense can pick him up and cover some slack like they almost did today in this game. So I don't know. We'll see. We're going to see Ross Stripling get an extended run here. Hopefully he can do what he did in the first game of the series there. And our depth at starting pitching seems to be kind of shocked right now, because if there's another injury or someone else just isn't performing, I don't know if Nate Pearson's ready to go, or I guess Nick Gallagher, who's pitched really well for Buffalo so far, maybe he gets a start up. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Is he in the final year of his deal, or has he got one more year after this?
Ryu's got one more year after this. So,
okay. Well, just a question. Viewers, just sit on that while you're thinking about Hanjin Ryu as well too, because I will probably for the rest of the day. Now, my turn to talk about something bad. That's after what Jesse just said, going to get me fired up a little bit. Was the balls and strikes called in the second game of the series that we ended up dropping 7-5. And I don't know the name of that umpire because
Jeff Nelson.
Geez, man, what are you doing? There's I don't give too much crap to the umps. It's the human errors. Humans make mistakes. I'm sure he can do a better job than I could.
It's a hard job to be an umpire.
I'm not a major league umpire. And you got to know you're going to be scrutinized, especially in high leverage situations like with Lourdes, with the bases loaded, calling him out for a pitch that far outside. And good on Montoya for getting heated. I love a manager that sticks up for his guys. And he was staring daggers through him, man. I've never seen his eyes glow quite like that.
Montoya has never gotten that wild before. Like, it was almost flashbacks to John Gibbons, the way he was coming out of that dugout on a heater there. Is good to see from your manager.
Well, I like it's a good mix. I don't like I do actually love a guy like Lou Piniella who kicked dirt on the umpires, but you want to get your point across. You don't want to be too, crazy out there, we'll call it. And I think that Montoya got his point across with one look, without saying a word, with the look he gave. He was staring right through Jeff Nelson. And he had a right to be bad. And then they rung up Matt Chapman. He gets kicked out, and that's usually the umpire, unless they're not really humans like we are. I'm sure he thought about the call after. You got to think about the call. And then he rings up Matt Chapman on the inside part of the plate where he's almost got to back his hands away. And that
4.55 inches off the zone, like 4.5 inches. That's
almost, it's inexcusable. I get the really close borderline calls. They're tough to listen. If the bases are loaded 2 away, runners in motion, and the pitcher throws a slider down and away, like obviously the hitter doesn't swing. Obviously the hitter thinks it's a ball and the pitcher thinks it's a strike. But when you've got fastballs being called, and being missed that bad, that's a thumbs down for sure. That's almost inexcusable. I'm not going to say it was the umpire's fault. We lost 7-5. Baseball is a funny sport. I said back to Truck, you can watch it, and that was what I meant by baseball is a funny sport.
Yeah.
Chips didn't fall our way.
Yeah, 27 missed calls for Jeff Nelson, which 27, that's a lot when especially you're only seeing maybe 200 pitchers or so in a game. That's not ideal. He also called the interference to George Springer in game 3 there when George Springer swung and just stepped over the plate, and they called Biggio out trying to steal second. So kind of atrocious. It's not that huge of a deal now because it's early in the regular season, but if the Jays are down the stretch and in a playoff push and we get a game like this from an umpire, that could really hurt this team. So Riley, are we in on robo-umps? Do we think it's time? How do you think we go about it here?
Ask me that question. Ask me that question in June, and I'll let you know. Because I can forgive short term. But if this is something that's going to persist in Major League Baseball, and I'm not telling you what I actually think right now because I try and be an optimist, but I'll tell you what I think in June, which is in just over a month from now, when we're really rolling. June's a good month. Just before, the All-Star game and the voting and everything like that, players start to really look at their form, and so should umpires. So it'll really tell me in June what I think, and I'll really give you my thoughts then.
All right, we'll come back to that then. I got to give another thumbs down too, just to cancer in general. It was announced yesterday morning that Buck Martinez was diagnosed with cancer and will be taking an immediate leave of absence from the team. So the 73-year-old Floridian plans to return during the stretch run of the season. So if all things go well, Buck Martinez will come back, which will be a nice, good story and a good boost for this team. This comes after the news that Jamie Campbell, the Blue Jay Central host, had leukemia early in the year. So right now, there's no announcement of who's going to replace Buck in the booth, but it sounds like Dan Schulman and Pat Tabler will keep going and probably get cameos. Maybe Ben Wagner comes on the show, or maybe Joe Siddall comes on the show a little more. So I don't know. It sucks. Buck Martinez has been the voice of Blue Jays baseball for over a decade now. He's been with the team since 81 was his first year here. So if you think Blue Jays baseball, you think Buck Martinez, and this is just, it's devastating, really.
Yeah, obviously he's a great. I love his calls first and foremost. I love to listen to a game announced. I understand that he's a homer to the Toronto Blue Jays, but I am a Blue Jays fan. That's what I like to hear, and I assume people watching our channel are also Jays fans or fans of the game. You appreciate a guy who's passionate about the team he's calling for, and that's Buck Martinez. He's a former player. He's a former manager. He's been around the game. He knows the game. He's not some Yahoo who went to, spend 8 years in school and worked his way up. Like, yeah, he might have been given this announcing job, but he shines at what he does. I personally love to listen to Buck. I think he's wonderful. He's an awesome person. He's great for the Blue Jays organization. And it's our second, tough break health-wise. I love Jamie Campbell as well. If you haven't seen it, there's a very sentimental story. I had said in one of our episodes, I can't go back there.
Yeah.
I can't think of the exact episode, whatever. It sucks because we watch these guys so often and we see them in and around the game, and they
become part of our family, right?
They're part of the Jays organization. They're part of the Jays family, and we love to listen to them. We love to watch them, and we respect them.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Jays do have an off day today, so they're getting a chance to rest and recoup and push their starters back into there before we head to Fenway Park for the first time this season. Your Jays are currently 6 wins, 4 losses. We're division leaders, so we're 0 games back. We're going into Boston, who is 5-5. They're just 1 game behind us for a 3-game series. Starting pitchers, game 1, it looks like it's going to be Yusei Kikuchi and his 5.40 ERA to face Nathan Eovaldi. Game 2 will be Jose Barrios getting his 3rd start of the season with an ERA over 11 still to face Nick Pivetta. Kevin Gausman in his 4.22 ERA, probably Tanner Houck in the 3rd game of the series there. Riley, really quickly here, what are you looking forward to watching in this series?
A lot of balls fly over that green monster, Jesse. It's pretty inevitable that with our right-handed bats, we're going to have a lot of balls launched out. And it's funny, it might not actually be the best ballpark for the Jays to hit at because we are such good line drive type hitters.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you watch Vlad or Lourdes scream one off the end of the bat and it just crushed the top of the monster and not go over. And with the way Fenway's set up, it's a shallow park. It'll be fun. Games in Fenway are always very interesting because the dimensions of the diamond are so peculiar.
Yeah, and division rival too. Like we talked about earlier in our AL East preview that the Jays are going to need to take advantage of these games in the division. And the Red Sox are only one game behind us. So early test here for these guys. I want to see Bo Bichette started to get heated up. I want to see more from Matt Chapman. And obviously, I want to watch Yusei Kikuchi do his magic on Thursday. Hopefully, we get a good start here. Riley, how many games are we going to win this series?
I think we take 2 out of 3. I think they're all real close games. I just like the 7-5 game we lost there. I think without the umpires screwing us in that, I think Boston just gets on the bats early and keeps it coming. I hope not on Barrios, because that's what I'm also looking forward to is Jose Barrios, because I think he's ready to bounce back. And of course, he had an awful outing his first time. And yeah, he struggled just a little bit, but he still got his numbers down. I really want to see his numbers a lot better. And yeah, he still has more walks than strikeouts. He has a +10 ERA.
Yeah.
Let's clean it up, Jose Barrios. Man, I want to talk about you. You're a great pitcher.
Hey, if he's a thumbs up when we do our episode after the end of that series, that's a win here.
That's a win.
That'll do it for our episode here today. Make sure to like and subscribe all season long. We're going to be doing these recaps after every series here. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at BudsJays. We get some maybe live tweets. We saw a nice photo of Riley on Jackie Robinson Day as a young kid. So that's the only type of stuff you can see if you're on our Twitter page there. And yeah, after that, we'll be back to recap this series and preview the upcoming series against the Astros. We'll see you again next time.
Happy Easter, fellas.